You see it forming, the perfect setup. Everything aligns exactly as your trading strategy requires. The trend is clear. The support level is solid. The indicators confirm, this is it. This is the trade you've been waiting for all week. Your cursor hovers over the buy button. Your finger is ready. You know you should take this trade. Every part of your trading knowledge screams, take this trade now. But something stops you. Wait, you think. Let me just check one more thing. Let me verify this one more time. Let me make absolutely sure this is right. You check the higher time frame. Still looks good. You check the economic calendar. Nothing major coming up. You check your indicators again. Still confirming. Everything is perfect. You should enter now. But you hesitate. Maybe I should wait for one more candle to close, just to be really sure, just to confirm the confirmation. So you wait. You watch. The price starts moving. The setup is playing out exactly as it should. And you're still watching, still hesitating, still telling yourself, I'll enter on the next pullback, or I'll wait for a better entry. The price moves more. Now the entry point you wanted is gone. The trade is running without you. You could still enter, but now the risk-reward ratio isn't as good. So you hesitate more. Maybe I'll catch it on the next setup. But you don't catch it. You just watch as the trade runs to your profit target, the perfect setup that you analyzed correctly. The trade that would have made you $500, gone because you hesitated. And the worst part? 5 minutes after missing it, you take a mediocre setup with none of the perfect conditions. That trade loses money. Because hesitation doesn't just make you miss good trades. It makes you take bad ones out of frustration. This is the hesitation trap, and it destroys more trading careers than bad strategies ever could. It's a trading psychology problem that affects beginners and experienced traders equally. The better you get at analysis, the worse your hesitation often becomes. Let me tell you about Yale, who missed 73 perfect setups in 4 months because of hesitation, and what he finally did to fix it. Yale had been trading for about 16 months when he realized he had a serious hesitation problem. He'd been noticing it for weeks, but kept making excuses. I'm just being careful, he'd tell himself. Better to miss a trade than take a bad one. But one Sunday evening, Yale did something that changed everything. He went through his trading journal and screenshots from the past 4 months. He identified every setup that met his trading strategy criteria, every perfect setup that appeared during his trading hours. Then Yale compared this list to his actual trades. What he discovered was devastating. In 4 months, Yale had identified 73 perfect setups in his journal, setups that met every single criterion of his trading strategy, setups he had analyzed correctly in real time, but Yale had only taken 18 of them. That's 24%. He missed 55 perfect setups because of hesitation. Yale then did something even more painful. He calculated what would have happened if he'd taken all 73 setups instead of just 18. Using his standard position sizing and his strategy's typical risk-reward ratio, Yale calculated the results. The 18 trades he actually took made him $4,200. That was good. But the 55 trades he missed due to hesitation would have made him an additional $13,800. Combined, Yale should have made $18,000 in those 4 months. Instead, he made $4,200. Hesitation cost Yale $13,800 in missed profits, but the damage went deeper than just money. After missing a perfect setup due to hesitation, Yale would feel frustrated. That frustration would make him take impulsive trades that didn't meet his criteria. He'd tell himself, I missed that good one, I need to make up for it, and he'd force trades. Yale tracked this pattern and found that after missing setups due to hesitation, he took 31 impulsive trades that lost him $5,400. So the total cost of his hesitation was actually $19,200, $13,800 in missed profits, plus $5,400 in frustration-driven losses. Yale's strategy was profitable. His analysis was accurate. His risk management was sound, but hesitation was destroying his results and his trading psychology. Yale's realization about his massive hesitation problem led him to research why hesitation happens in trading, and what he discovered explained his entire pattern. Hesitation in trading isn't about being indecisive by nature. It's about fear masquerading as caution. Your brain creates hesitation as a protection mechanism, trying to save you from making mistakes. But in trading, this protection mechanism actually causes more harm than good. Here's the trading psychology behind hesitation. When you see a perfect setup, your brain recognizes opportunity. But simultaneously, your brain also recognizes risk. Money could be lost. You could be wrong. This creates internal conflict. One part of your brain says, take this trade, it's good. Another part says, wait, you could lose money, be careful. This conflict creates hesitation. Your brain essentially freezes, unable to decide which voice to listen to. This freeze response is biological. It's the same mechanism that makes deer freeze in headlights. When faced with conflicting signals, run versus stay, the brain sometimes chooses neither and just freezes. In the wild, this can be fatal. In trading, it just costs you money. Yale experienced this constantly. He'd see a perfect setup and feel excited. Then immediately, fear would creep in. What if it's a fake breakout? What if there's news I don't know about? What if my analysis is wrong? These fears would create paralysis. The trading psychology of hesitation also involves perfectionism. Yale wanted every trade to be absolutely perfect, not just meeting his strategy criteria, but perfect in every possible way. No ambiguity, no doubt, complete certainty. But trading never offers complete certainty. Even perfect setups can fail. The market is probabilistic, not deterministic. By waiting for absolute certainty, Yale was waiting for something that doesn't exist in trading. This perfectionism-driven hesitation got worse the better Yale became at trading. As a beginner, Yale didn't know enough to find reasons to hesitate. He'd just take trades without overthinking. But as he learned more, he learned about all the ways trades can fail. This knowledge created more reasons to hesitate. Yale learned about false breakouts, so he'd hesitate on breakout trades. He learned about whipsaws, so he'd hesitate on reversal trades. He learned about choppy markets, so he'd hesitate during consolidation. Every piece of trading knowledge gave his fearful brain another reason to freeze. Another factor in Yale's hesitation was analysis paralysis. Yale would analyze a setup thoroughly before trading, but then he'd think, let me check one more thing. Then one more thing after that. He'd add more indicators, check more time frames, look for more confirmations. This overanalysis created hesitation because there's always one more thing you could check. The analysis never feels complete, so you keep analyzing instead of trading. By the time you feel ready to trade, the opportunity is gone. The trading psychology of hesitation also involves past trauma. Every trader has taken trades that looked perfect and lost money. Your brain remembers those painful experiences. When you see another perfect setup, your brain recalls those past losses and creates hesitation to protect you from repeating the pain. Yale had taken several perfect-looking setups early in his trading that failed spectacularly. His brain hadn't forgotten. Every time a new perfect setup appeared, his subconscious would whisper, "Remember what happened last time with a setup like this." This created hesitation even when the current setup was different. Understanding why hesitation happens helped Yale see it as a trading psychology problem rather than just indecisiveness. But understanding the full cost of chronic hesitation made him realize how urgently he needed to fix it. The obvious cost of hesitation is missed profits. Yale calculated $13,800 in direct missed profits from trades he should have taken. But the real cost of chronic hesitation in trading goes much deeper. Cost 1: eroded confidence. Every time Yale hesitated and missed a trade that worked, his confidence took a hit. He'd watch the trade play out perfectly and think, "I analyzed that correctly, but I didn't have the courage to take it. What's wrong with me?" This erosion of confidence made future hesitation worse. The less confident Yale felt, the more he hesitated. The more he hesitated, the less confident he became. A downward spiral in his trading psychology. Cost 2: impulsive overcompensation. After missing several trades due to hesitation, Yale would overcompensate. He'd force himself to take the next trade without proper analysis just to prove he wasn't hesitating anymore. These impulsive trades were usually bad trades. He'd enter without proper confirmation just because he was tired of hesitating. This led to losses that reinforced his fear and created more hesitation in the future. Cost 3: inconsistent execution. Yale's strategy required consistent execution to work. The strategy had an edge, but only if Yale took every valid setup. By hesitating on some setups and taking others randomly, Yale wasn't actually trading his strategy. His results became unpredictable. Some months looked good, some months looked bad. Not because the strategy changed, but because Yale's hesitation was inconsistent. He couldn't rely on his own execution. Cost 4: analytics addiction. Hesitation fed Yale's tendency to overanalyze. Every time he hesitated, he'd add more analysis to feel more certain. This trained his brain that more analysis equals more confidence. But in reality, more analysis just created more reasons to hesitate. Yale became addicted to analyzing rather than trading. He'd spend hours studying charts, but barely take any trades. Analysis became procrastination. Cost 5: opportunity blindness. The more Yale hesitated, the more opportunities he saw slipping away. This created a scarcity mindset. Instead of trusting that good setups appear regularly, Yale started thinking, "I'm running out of chances." This scarcity mindset made his hesitation worse. When you think opportunities are rare, the pressure to take the perfect entry at the perfect moment increases. This pressure creates more hesitation, not less. Cost 6: trading becoming stressful. Before his hesitation problem became severe, Yale enjoyed trading. It was engaging and challenging. But chronic hesitation made trading stressful and painful. Every trading session became a battle. Will I hesitate again? Will I miss another setup? Can I force myself to take the trade? Trading stopped being about market analysis and became about fighting himself. This stress made Yale dread trading sessions. Understanding these 6 costs made Yale realize that hesitation wasn't just costing him money, it was destroying his entire trading psychology and his relationship with trading itself.
Yale's recognition of hesitation's full cost pushed him to identify exactly when he hesitated most, because not every setup triggered hesitation, only certain types did. Trigger 1. Perfect setups cause maximum hesitation. Ironically, the better a setup looked, the more Yale hesitated. When a setup was just okay, Yale could take it without much thought. But when a setup was perfect, all indicators aligned, clear trend, obvious entry, Yale would freeze. Why? Because perfect setups create performance pressure. Yale's brain would think, "This is the perfect trade. I can't mess this up." That pressure created hesitation. The fear of ruining a perfect opportunity was greater than the fear of missing an average opportunity. Trigger 2. After a winning streak. When Yale was on a winning streak, he'd start hesitating more on new trades. You'd think winning would build confidence and reduce hesitation, but it had the opposite effect. Trading psychology here is fear of breaking the streak. Yale would think, I've won 5 in a row. I don't want to ruin it with a bad trade. This fear made him hesitate, analyzing potential trades to death, afraid of being the trade that broke his streak. Trigger 3. Early in the trading session. Yale noticed he hesitated most on his first trade of the day. Once he'd taken one trade, subsequent trades were easier to enter. But that first trade of each session triggered intense hesitation. This is because the first trade sets the tone. Your brain builds it up as extra important. If I start with a winner, I'll have momentum. If I start with a loser, my whole day is ruined. This psychological weight creates hesitation. Trigger 4. After recently missing a setup yesterday. If Yale had missed a perfect setup yesterday due to hesitation, he'd hesitate even more on today's setup. You'd think the pain of missing yesterday's trade would make him more decisive today, but it had the opposite effect. The trading psychology here involves fear of repeating mistakes. Yale would think, I hesitated yesterday and missed it. What if I hesitate again today and it works again? I'll feel terrible. This fear of repeating the pain actually caused him to repeat the hesitation. Trigger 5. When someone else validates the setup. When Yale saw other traders discussing the setup he was analyzing, he'd hesitate more. Again, counterintuitive. You'd think social validation would increase confidence, but it increased Yale's hesitation. Why? Because now if Yale took the trade and it lost, he wouldn't just be wrong, he'd be wrong along with everyone else. The potential embarrassment felt worse than being privately wrong. This fear created hesitation. Identifying these 5 triggers helped Yale understand that his hesitation wasn't constant. It appeared in specific, predictable situations. This predictability meant Yale could design specific solutions for each trigger rather than trying to fix hesitation in general.
Yale's understanding of his specific triggers led him to discover that certain responses to hesitation actually intensified the problem, creating mental loops that grew stronger the more he tried to fix them. Response 1. Waiting for one more confirmation. When Yale felt hesitation, his go-to response was, let me just check one more thing. It felt reasonable, prudent, careful, but it made hesitation worse. Why? Because one more confirmation is never enough when you're operating from fear. After checking one more thing, your fearful brain will want to check another thing and another. Yale would check his daily time frame, then the weekly, then the monthly, then circle back to hourly for one last look. This confirmation-seeking loop reinforced hesitation instead of resolving it. Response 2. Creating additional rules. After missing trades due to hesitation, Yale tried to outsmart it. He'd create new rules to help him decide faster. I'll add another indicator. When this one confirms 2, I'll know for sure. But more rules made hesitation worse. Each new rule added more criteria, and more criteria meant more possible reasons not to act. Yale's strategy started with 3 entry conditions. Months later, he had 9. Perfect alignment was so rare that pulling the trigger became nearly impossible. His hesitation deepened with each added rule. Response 3. Comparing to past trades. When Yale hesitated, he'd review old setups. Let me remember how this type of trade worked before. It felt like intelligent reflection, but the fearful brain doesn't recall evenly. It highlights failure. Yale remembered the 3 times the setup failed, but not the 7 times it succeeded.
This selective memory made every setup feel riskier than it truly was. Comparing to past trades amplified doubt and paralyzed action. Response 4. Seeking external validation. Sometimes Yale would check what other traders thought. Let me see if anyone else sees this setup. It felt like gathering information, but in reality, it was another form of delay. Waiting for validation meant missing the entry entirely. And when others disagreed, it made things worse. The moment someone said, "I don't see it," Yale's confidence evaporated. External validation became a trap disguised as research. Response 5. Lowering position size instead of entering. When hesitation hit, but Yale forced himself to act, he'd often reduce his position drastically. "I'll take it, but with less risk since I'm not sure." This felt safe, but it taught his brain that hesitation was useful. By rewarding fear with reduced risk, he subconsciously reinforced the behavior. And when those smaller trades won, frustration followed. "I was right, but I barely made anything." That emotional sting made hesitation feel even more costly next time. Recognizing these 5 counterproductive responses helped Yale realize that he hadn't been fixing hesitation, he'd been feeding it. Only by breaking these hidden reinforcement loops could he begin retraining his trading psychology.
After identifying his hesitation patterns, triggers, and counterproductive responses, Yale developed a comprehensive system to overcome hesitation, and it completely transformed his trading execution. Component 1, the 60-second decision rule. When a valid setup appeared, Yale gave himself exactly 60 seconds to make the entry decision. Not to analyze, the analysis was already done. Just to decide, enter or skip. He set a visible timer. When the 60 seconds were up, he had to either be in the trade or have a written reason why not. This rule ended endless second-guessing and forced real-time decisiveness. Component 2, the predefined entry checklist. Yale created a simple checklist with his 3 core strategy criteria, the original ones, not the 9 he had added over time. When a setup appeared, he'd check the 3 boxes. If all 3 were yes, he'd enter within 60 seconds. If not, he'd skip. No debate. This checklist removed emotional decision-making in the moment. The rule was simple. Plan decides, not feelings. It brought structure and calm to what used to be chaos. Component 3, the hesitation journal. Yale started a dedicated hesitation journal. Every time he hesitated or pushed through hesitation, he logged it. What he felt, what happened, what he missed. A week later, the numbers spoke clearly. Hesitation cost him winners far more often than it saved him from losers. Seeing the data made hesitation lose its illusion of safety. Component 4, the first trade protocol. Knowing his first trade of the day triggered the most hesitation, Yale built a special rule for it. Each morning, he reviewed his top setup from the previous analysis. If it was still valid, he entered immediately. No delay, no timer. This jump-started momentum and removed the mental block that came from starting cold. The first trade no longer scared him. It set the tone for confident execution. Component 5, position size commitment. Yale committed to always using his full position size, never scaling down out of fear. If you felt too hesitant to risk full size, that meant the setup didn't qualify, not that he should half take it. This rule reprogrammed his brain. Hesitation wasn't rewarded, it was rejected. And that made his conviction grow with every trade he executed properly. Component 6, the entry trigger. Yale created a physical and verbal trigger for trade entry. When the checklist was done and the timer was running, he placed his hand on the mouse and said, "This setup meets my criteria. I'm entering now." This simple ritual bridged thought and action. It gave his brain no space for hesitation to creep in. Component 7, the misreview process. Every missed trade had to be reviewed. Yale would screenshot the setup, write what made him hesitate, and later record whether that trade would have won or lost. At weekend, seeing how many missed trades would have been profitable was painful but powerful. Each review reminded him, hesitation isn't protection, it's an expensive habit. Within 3 weeks, Yale's execution rate jumped from 24% to 68%. After 2 months, it reached 81%. He wasn't perfect, but for the first time, he was executing more setups than he was missing, and that changed everything. Yale's systematic approach to fixing hesitation didn't just improve his entry rate, it fundamentally changed his trading psychology and his relationship with decision-making in trading. Before fixing hesitation, trading felt heavy. Every setup was a battle between fear and opportunity. Yale would see a setup and immediately feel internal conflict. The weight of making the right decision felt crushing. Trading was exhausting because every decision required overcoming resistance. After implementing his hesitation fix system, trading felt lighter. When a setup appeared, Yale would simply check his 3 criteria. Yes, 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 enter. Not yes, skip. The decision was simple because the system made it simple. No internal battle, no agonizing, just execution. This shift created unexpected benefits. Benefit 1, faster skill development. By taking 81% of his valid setups instead of 24%, Yale was getting much more real trading experience. More trades meant more data. More data meant faster learning about what worked and what didn't in actual market conditions. When Yale was hesitating and missing most setups, his learning was theoretical. He'd analyze setups that he didn't take and wonder what would have happened. Now he was actually taking them and learning from real results. Benefit 2, genuine confidence. Before, Yale's attempts at confidence were forced. He tried to convince himself, I can do this, I should be confident. But underneath, fear remained. This false confidence crumbled easily. After systematically addressing hesitation, Yale's confidence was genuine. It wasn't based on trying to feel confident. It was based on evidence. He had a system that worked. He followed the system, and the results proved the system was effective. This evidence-based confidence was stable and real. Benefit 3, consistent results. With execution rate at 81%, Yale's trading strategy could actually show its true edge. Before, his inconsistent execution made results unpredictable. Now, by taking most valid setups, Yale saw his strategy's real performance. His monthly returns became consistent. Not the same every month, but predictably within a range. This consistency made trading feel professional rather than chaotic. Benefit 4, reduced FOMO. Paradoxically, by taking more trades, Yale experienced less fear of missing out. Before, when hesitation caused him to miss trades, he'd feel desperate about missing opportunities. This desperation created more pressure, which created more hesitation. After taking most setups, Yale felt abundant. If I miss this setup, another will come. I'm taking most of them anyway. This abundance mindset reduced pressure and actually made taking trades easier. Benefit 5, trading becoming enjoyable again. The heaviest benefit was psychological. Yale started enjoying trading again. When every trade required battling hesitation, trading felt like work, hard, unpleasant work. After implementing his system, trading felt like executing a craft. Yale could appreciate good setups. He could take pride in clean execution. Trading became engaging rather than exhausting. This enjoyment made Yale want to trade, which created a positive feedback loop. Yale's journey from chronic hesitator to decisive executor offers you a clear roadmap to fix your own hesitation problem, starting with your very next trading session. Step 1. Quantify your hesitation. For the next 20 trading days, track every valid setup that appears according to your strategy. Note which ones you take and which ones you miss due to hesitation. Calculate your execution percentage. Most hesitant traders are shocked by how low their execution percentage is. Yale thought he was taking about half his setups. Actually, he was taking 24%. Knowing your real number is essential.
Step 2. Track the cost. For the setups you miss due to hesitation, track what would have happened if you'd taken them. How much profit did hesitation cost you? How much did hesitation-driven impulsive trades cost you? Make the cost of hesitation concrete and specific. Hesitation cost me X dollars is much more motivating than hesitation is probably bad. Step 3. Identify your hesitation triggers. When do you hesitate most? Perfect setups? First trade of the day? After winning streaks? After missing previous trades? Write down your specific triggers. Your triggers might be different from Yale's. That's fine. You need to know your personal hesitation pattern. Step 4. Implement the 60-second rule. Starting tomorrow, when a valid setup appears, give yourself exactly 60 seconds to enter the trade. Set a timer. Make it visible. At 60 seconds, you're either in the trade or you've consciously skipped it with a written reason. This single change will likely improve your execution rate significantly just by preventing endless analysis. Step 5. Simplify your entry criteria. How many criteria does your trading strategy require? If it's more than 5, you've probably added extra criteria to manage hesitation. Go back to your core strategy. Identify the 3 to 5 essential criteria. Use only those. More criteria don't create better entries. They create more hesitation. Step 6. Create your entry ritual. Develop a physical and verbal trigger for entering trades, something you say or do when your criteria are met that signals, "I'm entering now." This ritual creates a bridge between analysis and execution, helping your brain switch modes. Step 7. Review missed trades weekly. Every Sunday, review all the trades you missed due to hesitation that week. See the results. Calculate the missed profits. Let this data confront you with the real cost of hesitation. This weekly review will keep you motivated to overcome hesitation by making the cost vivid and real. Hesitation makes you miss perfect setups not because you can't analyze markets, but because fear masquerades as caution. Your trading psychology creates hesitation as protection, but this protection costs you more than the mistakes it prevents. Yale missed 55 perfect setups in 4 months because of hesitation. Those missed opportunities cost him $13,800 in direct profits and another $5,400 in frustration-driven bad trades. His hesitation problem cost him nearly $20,000. But hesitation isn't permanent. It's a pattern that can be broken with the right system. Yale's execution rate went from 24% to 81% by implementing 7 specific components that addressed different aspects of hesitation. The key insight is that you can't fix hesitation by trying to be more confident or more decisive. Those are feelings, and feelings can't be directly controlled. Instead, you need systems that make execution simpler and hesitation harder. Predefine your criteria. Set time limits for decisions. Remove opportunities for endless analysis. Create entry rituals. Track the cost of hesitation. These systems work because they don't fight your psychology, they work with your psychology. Yale lost $20,000 to hesitation before fixing it. You don't have to. You now understand why hesitation happens, what triggers it, what makes it worse, and most importantly, how to systematically overcome it. The question is, will you implement the system? Will you track your execution rate? Will you confront the cost of your hesitation? Will you create the decision framework that makes taking valid trades simple? Your trading success depends not on finding better setups, but on taking the setups you already find. Hesitation is what stands between you and those opportunities. Fix the hesitation, and you fix your trading.